Hi everybody, so today I've got just one product to show you, and that is the Givenchy PRISME LIBRE, the new bronzer. This is the 4-tone bronzer. Here it is. I've just got this in shade 01, and today what I'm going to do is try this, see if I can get into the pan and actually use it as a contour and use it on my eyes with different shades, just to see if it's got that sort of multi-purpose, and then all over the face as a bronzer, and also see if it's too warm for my skin tone. I'll also today be swatching it against other bronzers in my collection, the cool tone ones that work the best for me, but also looking at some of the warmer tone ones I've got, so we can see if it looks a bit similar. So anyway, if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 48, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I show you the latest releases, my favourite looks, and give you any beauty news you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy this content, I'd be so grateful if you subscribe to my channel. Lots of people watch without subscribing, so I'm ever so grateful if you do that, it's so helpful to me. And if you're already subscribed, welcome back, thank you so much for being here. And my skin tone for matching up with this shade, I've got fair to light skin with predominantly cool undertones that lean a little bit neutral. I've also got blue eyes. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's get straight into this video. Start off by showing you my swatch video yesterday in the sunlight. Luckily we had sun that day, today we don't, so very grateful for that. Here's my swatch video. And some information on this bronzer. This is £45. It says it gives you a buildable sun-kissed effect, all day matte, powered by 4 colours to bronze, warm, sculpt and highlight, instant blur, weightless powder, bare skin sensation. So this promises a skin perfecting finish with an ultralight texture, weightless powder delivering a natural buildable tan finish that blurs your pores appearance and enhances the skin's natural luminosity without adding any thickness. A non-drying formula which preserves your skin hydration for a lasting feel of comfort. So pretty much described as the setting powders, which we all know and love, especially the pressed formula, which is the one that hasn't changed, but well, it has actually recently changed, but it still works as well as the original. So we all know and love this formula, and from swatching it, it did feel very creamy, soft and smooth yesterday. You can see it's already a little bit of a mess from doing that, but I am still today going to try and do a few different things with it. But before I do that, let's just make a few comparisons. So I'm going to start off with a bronzer that's too warm for me. So if it looks like this, then it could be very bad news for me. This is the new Dior bronze in the shade 02 Light Matte. So if I hold these up together, this definitely looks much more warm. But I will do a swatch, and I'll make the swatch all 4 shades together, as I did in my video. So here is Givenchy and here is that Dior. The Dior looks much more yellow, so this is already quite promising. And then I'll compare it to one of my current favourites, which is the All Hours bronze from YSL, and this one is in the shade 02. So there is 02 in YSL. I also have 01, so I'll just do a quick comparison with that. 01 is the one I tend to grab the most lately. In the summer, more 02 if I'm wearing a tan. So there is 01 from YSL. I'd say it's probably the closest to that, which is really promising, seeing as it's one of my absolute favourites. So another favourite is the Lancôme bronzer, and this one is also in the shade 02 Light. If I actually put these next to each other, they do look quite similar, I think, in the overall shade. But let's swatch them side by side. I've got a feeling Lancôme could be a bit deeper. Yeah, it is. But this is 02 in the Lancôme. So there's Lancôme, and here is the new Givenchy. Now, one of my most used, most trusted cool tone bronzers is this one from What's Up Beauty, and this one's in the shade 01 Light. Very, very different texture, this one. This is that baked formula, Italian formula, the What's Up, but nowhere near as soft and creamy. So there's the What's Up. You can see it is lighter, slightly less yellow. When you see this one from What's Up, the Givenchy does look a tad yellow. which tells me it might not be quite as perfect for me, because this one is absolutely perfect. And another one that's been very perfect for me lately is the Fenty. I've just recently discovered this, even though it's not particularly new. This is the shade Indocin 01 Sunstalker Bronzer from Fenty. This is how the packaging looks. And if I show you them side by side, it looks a bit like this shade here, doesn't it? So let's swatch this one. Here is the Fenty. So I've also got my Victoria Beckham Brick Bronzer here in the shade 02, another favourite of mine, and you can see definitely some similarities here. I think probably the best way to look at the Victoria Beckham might be to swatch the two together. So that we've got sort of contour side and the bronze side of the Victoria Beckham mixed together, and pretty similar actually. In fact, I'd say they're exactly the same. Very close. So if you're a fan of the Victoria Beckham is definitely more of a dry formula. This one is made in the USA, by the way, it says. I have to say, out of all the ones I've swatched so far, the Givenchy is the smoothest, creamiest so far of all of them. And I'm getting to the end of the ones I wanted to compare to. So I do also have here this one from Gucci. This is the Eclat Soleil 01. This one's got more of a reddish tone. So I'm going to swatch this one. This is one I don't use very often because I find it's not the perfect tone for me, although it is quite a good one, but I don't know why I don't use it more often actually. So there it is. You can see there's a slight tone of red in that. You can see more of a sort of yellowish brown in the ones I've swatched there. So that's Givenchy, Victoria Beckham, and here we have the Gucci. So definitely more of a reddish tone as I expected. And the Armani, the Luminous Silk Armani, which launched last year, I got this one in the shade 90. This one was slightly warm on me, perfect for summer though. Here's the two of them together. And you can see straight away how much warmer the Armani is. And the Armani also has a bit of a shimmer running through it. Actually, the Armani has that softness that the Givenchy's got. Straight away, so much warmer. Here it is. Look at the difference there. Wow. That's why I don't dip into it very often. It is a beautiful bronzer, but yeah, very, very, very warm and yellow. Definitely only one I can get away with if I've got a lot of tan on. And then lastly, I've got the Beach Walk Betty from RMS. So here that one is. And then here's the Givenchy. I'm not seeing this tone, Beach Walk Betty, in any of these four. This is very silky soft as well, the RMS. So there is RMS Beach Walk Betty. Much darker and much more of a reddy tone compared to this Givenchy. So at the moment, I'm thinking for me, the Givenchy is going to be a really good match. It's standing up quite well tone-wise to my favourites, so that's very, very promising. But I also want to check the possibility of using the shades in multiple ways, which is something I'm quite excited to do. So hopefully I've given you enough comparisons there, but if you did want any more, please do let me know if there's anything I've forgotten or anything you'd like me to compare it to. So to try to get into these and use them as individual shades, I thought I'd try the new Victoria Beckham brush, which I haven't used much, this one. This is the number 13. So it's got this sort of thin end, which could be ideal. I'm not wearing anything on my face at all, and that's why I look so pale. So I've got no contour. So I thought this shade here could work as a contour shade. So I'm going to just go into that with that end of the brush and then use it as a contour. It's applying very, very smoothly and definitely not too much of a harsh line. I think that does work as a contour line there for me. I'm just going to dip into that on its own. So the same on this side here. And you can see before I blend it out, you can definitely see that colour. And it does work as a contour shade. It just blends out like butter. It's beautiful actually. Absolutely no patchiness, considering I'm dipping here into the very deepest shade of the four. So the one that could be the trickiest if you're trying to use it individually. So I'm taking it around the edge of the forehead where I'd like to contour. Very, very light contour. It's definitely giving me that, and it's cool tone enough to work as a contour shade, so that's really good. This makes it multi-purpose in a way I don't think any other bronzer I've got does. The Victoria Beckham obviously has contour and bronze, but this one has 4. So you could argue you could use this one to almost highlight, which I might try at the end actually. I'll take my BK Beauty 207, my trusty brush, which I use for so many things, and try to contour with it. Very, very gentle contour, and I'm going to start bringing it here under the brow, and I will actually continue it with a blender brush in a minute because I'm going to use it in the eyes as well. It's just not giving me any harsh lines that require a lot of working out. Now a big part of that is it's a very light bronze, it is the lightest shade, but also it's because it blends out into the skin so beautifully. And I am using today the Givenchy pressed powder, so it's going on top of that, so the two formulas are very happily working together. That's definitely contoured the nose. Very, very gently, which is how I like it. You could build it up a bit more. Could take some under the lip. It's really, really good. Making this a really good travel option as well, you know. I'm going to take the bigger end of this brush and just dip into the contour shade and take it under here where I like to contour as well. This brush is working very well. Very, very impressed with these Victoria Beckham brushes so far. Right. So I'll also use the Victoria Beckham brush now, the number 30, the blender brush, to go, how shall I start? I think I'll go into the same shade and start putting this into my crease. And the perfect thing about doing this is you know that these are the colours already going onto your face. You don't need to be overly precise, and you know when you bring it out here, it's going to end up sort of meeting with the shades you already put on your face or will be adding, because obviously I haven't done the bronze effect yet. So at the moment this is just more of a contour, the eyes and the face, just with that one shade, and it's working very nicely. And everywhere I've applied it, it's gone on so smoothly, incredibly easy to work with. The formula is absolutely spot on. I really like that as an easy contour sort of shade if you wanted to have a no makeup day and make it really simple. And with the wrapper number 3, I'm going to run this under the eye as well. Same shade. Now I think I'll go into this one, the second deepest. This is slightly warmer, and now I'll take this over the lid, but maybe just take it for the first third actually. This one looks quite significantly warmer, as you'd expect. It definitely looks like the warmest tone, doesn't it? You can really see that on the eyes. You can really see those difference in shades when it's on the eyes, more so than you probably would on the face. I think I'll go for the lightest of the 4 now, just to finish off that very first third of the lid. I'll also use this very, very light shade. See if it'll work as an inner corner. Is it light enough for that? I think it might just about work. Gosh, this really could be the multi-purpose product of the year. Contour, bronzer and eyeshadow all in one. But I can't leave it just like that. I would need to add something. So I would need some sort of shimmery topper. So I'm going to go into my Tom Ford Black Diamond and take this topper now, just to bring a bit of sparkle to the look. A soft sparkle, nothing too outrageous. And I'll use my Twig eyeliner from Delilah and just add a bit of liner and mascara. So once I've completed both of these things, I will come back and we can look at the bronzer. There we are, a very simple eye look using mostly bronzer from this in multiple shades. I think it's for a really simple look, it just works very well. So now what we really want to see is if we mix the four together, what are we getting? So I'm going to try the Victoria Beckham brush number 15. So this is a slightly big one, and I'm going to mix all four together and then we'll see what we get. I usually start with a patting motion with a bronzer. Look how that, just one pat and you don't see that sort of dot on your face of bronzer. It's not plonked on, it's just sunk straight in and blended straight in with my powder underneath. Very, very, very promising. This formula is exceptional. It really is absolutely exceptional. Look at that. And the brush, by the way, working very, very nicely with it. Is it too yellow for me though? I feel like it does look a bit yellow on me. I think it applies absolutely perfectly. But maybe because of this shade here, I see that warmth a bit too much. I don't know if I can try to just sort of go around these three here for the next side and do it here and see if it looks a bit less yellow. But obviously that's not ideal. I'll continue to try to exclude that yellow shade on the other side here. Yeah, I think that looks better, you know. So if you're a cool tone like me, you might find that this part of the four, this shade, is just too warm. And you can exclude it, but then that's frustrating because you don't want to. Maybe if you're wearing a tan or it's the summer and you feel that these shades suit you better, which for me they do, you might prefer it. But I do think this, so that would again give it multi-purpose, I suppose. You've got your two options if you do tan and you're going for that summer vibe. But personally for me, whatever time of year it is, I would rather avoid this particular tone on my skin tone, which is doable, but it's much easier and quicker if you can just swirl through. And this formula is a knockout, so with only 3 released, I would really, really hope we get more, and maybe one that doesn't include a warm tone like that. At the end of the day, we are warming up the face, so we do need a little bit of warmth. I just think this side's given me that warmth without having that more yellow tone. This side's slightly more yellow toned. It's not a huge difference. I have actually applied a lot more product this side. So let me do it again, mix the four together and put a little bit more just to even things up. Connecting with the eye there. I've got no blusher on, nothing at all, so this is literally all I've got on my skin right now. It's just going directly on top of foundation and then the Givenchy setting powder in the shade 01 if you're curious. It just applies so beautifully. It is an absolutely stunning formula. I just know that the overall look, even this side where I avoided it, is slightly less cool tone than the ones I prefer. Which means I probably won't end up reaching for it because of the colour. But I do need to keep using it. It doesn't look dreadful. When I say to you on camera it's not that good, a lot of people will say to me it looks good on you. And I'm not saying it looks bad on me, but there are more cool tone options like the ones I've just shown you from What's Up Beauty, the one from Fenty, and the YSL 01. It was 01, wasn't it? Those three are just better for my skin tone. This one is a little bit too warm, even when I try to avoid the warm one, because these two must somehow bring a bit of warmth. But anyway, it applies absolutely beautifully. So this will probably just have to be my summer bronzer, a bit like the Armani, which I said I loved, but it's not as bright, it's not as warm as the Armani though. It is still very pretty though. I'm a bit on the fence. Formula 10 out of 10. Shade, not sure. That's what I meant to do then. Not sure, not waving to you. Gee whiz. I'll just put some blush on anyway and we can see the final look. Added blush. If you're curious, it's the new Sisley Cloud blush, and this one is in the shade 02, and that's what I've got on lips and cheeks. I'm really loving these, by the way, really loving them, and they work so beautifully on top of powder. Just no tackiness at all, they just blend out beautifully. Anyway, one last thing I thought I'd try with this bronzer is whether I can use it as a sort of brightener rather than highlighter, instead of highlighter I mean. So I'm using that same end of the Victoria Beckham brush, and I'm going to just take it here, see if I get a bit of a brightening effect. I think you can actually see a bit of a brightening effect there. If you're seeing any sparkle, I think that might be from when I put the Tom Ford topper on my eyes. It's just come down a bit. Yeah, I think that works actually. Very, very, very subtle. Instead of a highlighter, again, for that more natural look. So it's very good for that. I think this is incredible actually. I think this is an incredible bronzer. I just wish we didn't have that warm tone. That's the only thing I could say. I do love the packaging on this. It's exactly the same, by the way, as the pressed powder packaging that they've just changed. So we have it opening across here, which is really good because once you've opened it, you can still see the mirror. The old one used to flip upwards and hide the mirror. So when it opens, you've got this really good size brush, which is great for top-ups. And let me just show you it in action actually, very carefully, because I've got so much on my face I don't really want to change it, but it is a really good one for top-ups. So it gets right in, and then you can just add a bit more. So it's not something I would choose for my application initially, but it's really good for top-ups. So very good brushes, lovely packaging, good size mirror. This brush, by the way, just clicks in here so it doesn't fall out. That's not it falling out, that slides down, but the brush stays in place. So very nice packaging. And if you're worried about them all looking the same, you can see this is the bronzer because the powder has this silver tip top and the new bronzer has this slight bronze shade to it, so you can tell one from the other, which is helpful with the packaging. So what do you think of that? Slightly yellow on me. I do feel a little bit yellow, which is a shame, but not massively yellow. So definitely one for the summer, but I love the multifunction. And if you've got slightly warmer undertones or more neutral, less cool to mine, I think this will be perfect for you. And we've got the 3 shades, which I didn't put a picture up of actually, so I'll do that now, the 3 different shades. And I'll probably add it in for earlier, so you might have already seen it. When I edit, I probably will add it, but I'll do it again now. So you can see that there's 3 very different shades, and medium had actually sold out the minute I went to buy this, the day it launched. So I think we need at least 5 or 6 of these, you know, and I really hope we get them. I think it's a really, really, really good formula, and I love it. I do love it. Do you know what I should finish with, which is literally sitting on my desk right now? The Givenchy highlighter, which I'm really, really in love with. This was their limited edition number 15 PRISME LIBRE highlighter. I love this so much. So let me just tap a bit of this in. I'll use my Victoria Beckham again. This is the fan brush, and since I got this, I've used this every time when I need a fan brush. So it's going into all of those shades in the lid there, and then just take a little bit of this highlight. Gives it a slight peachy edge to it, peachy pink. And it's beautiful, really beautiful. When it comes to powders, Givenchy, they really know what they're doing, don't they? Oh, beautiful. It's got a really strong fragrance, this one. I didn't say about the fragrance with the bronzer, did I? I didn't pick up on any. Let me just double check. The pressed powders have quite a strong fragrance. It's got a very mild fragrance, very mild. Almost like floral perfume. That seems to be the standard for Givenchy, but it's quite light, very, very light actually. So yeah, there we go. That is the end of my review. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you picked it up? Will you be picking it up? What do you think? Do you think it looks too yellow, or do you think it's fine? I am being very picky when I say that. I will definitely use this regularly and give you a bigger update at the end of the month and see if I'm reaching for it or if I put it away and just gone straight back to the ones I always use. We'll see. But I think it's a knockout formula. Anyway, That's all from me for today. If you've enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it ever so much if you hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And if you are, thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate you all. You know I do, I really hope you do. And I do hope to see you all again for my next video. Take care everybody, bye.